Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you all doing well on this Sunday afternoon, evening, or whatever happens to be for you. Flash, good to see you. Unbeknown, always a pleasure. Hope you guys doing well today. So welcome, sit down, shut up. Today we have team, so let's bring them on.
Hello.
Hey, team, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Cool. Let's see here. So you mentioned in your message that you're kind of plateauing like 1200, 1300 MR, right? Kind of wondering what to do from here. Does that sound about right? Or
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Tell me a little more about your games. Like, what are you kind of seeing? Like, are there any specific concerns, or are you just kind of like all over the place right now? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's kind of the latter. I know part of it, at least I think part of it is matchup knowledge. Like there are some characters where I kind of just don't know how to play against them.
Sure. Yeah.
Thinking, you know, kind of usual culprits, Lily, Jamie, like things that are not super commonly seen.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part is like, yeah, I'll still lose to like just, your normal Kens, Akumas, like things you run into all the time in
Yeah. Yeah.
ranked.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So let me invite you to the custom room here.
Cool.
All right. Cool. So,
June.
what we'll do is we'll go ahead and run our first to three. Kind of get a
Mhm.
sense of where you're at and what's going on. After that, we'll take a look at one of our replays, go a little replay review for that one, as well as one of the replays you sent me. So I know you sent me a couple, I believe. Let me just double check. I think you sent it on DM, right?
Yes,
So
I did.
we'll take a look at a couple of the. We'll take a look at one of the replays there as well. Kind of get a
Okay.
sense of like what's happening because there's a little bit of MR difference, obviously. So what might be happening in your current rank games might be different than what happens during our game. After that, if there's any like specific situations we want to look at, we'll hop into the lab and maybe lab that out. And then if there's time after and you're up for it, we can run it back after and see if any of the adjustments or changes help at all, right? So
Oh,
if that sounds good to you, go ahead and queue up. I'm gonna deafen in Discord while we play our set, mostly because I talk a lot during this,
no
and
worries.
don't want to impact anything you're doing. I also may not rematch right away as I again continue to talk through what I'm seeing, just to kind of
Mhm.
get myself ready to talk about what's happening when we do the replay review. So,
Okay.
all right, if with that, good luck.
All right. Good luck.
Hey Banner, what's good? But no, 20,000 LP. Oh, cool, man. So you should be in Master pretty soon with that, right? That should be what, Diamond 3 or 4 or something like that? I forget exactly. All right, so team, I haven't played them, but I do know that they were in BLKO this season, I believe. Let's see some of their matches, so let's see what's going on here. Chun-Li. Okay. Okay, a little bit, what do I call it? Oop. I was gonna say, eager to press. Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, forward nerves hitting hard because you're. Yeah, the nerves will never really go away, to be honest, right? Even at this level, even at 1600, every time I get in a rank, my heart rate goes up. Okay, good throw. Let's see what they do after this. Oh, that was a mistake. Should have been a not that. Okay, burnout for that. That's a problem for me. Okay. All right. Totally faced ice water before rank. I think it's the best way to get you to calm down. Okay, so what I'm noticing right now is that the main way I'm kind of beating them currently is mostly in the neutral game, right? I think there's some I don't want to call it an issue necessarily, but I think like they're eager to walk up and press the button. And if I'm challenging them or trying to, you know, kind of bait them into pressing it, they get hit, right? Some of the defensive decisions I think are kind of tough, right? Like, you know, talking about strike throw guesses and all that. Like, you have to shimmy, like guessing on the shimmy rather. Oh, nice strike throw. Right. Delay tech again. Oh, good challenge. Maybe a read there. I don't think I've been pressing a lot of nag cancel buttons, but maybe I have been. Throw. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's mostly because they're eager to press, right? So if I get in their way or get in space, they tend to press. Right? So you see that? Oh, nice. Oh, nice. I think they adapted to that and started using Crush Immune Kick there. Alright, so now I can start throwing, I think. Oh! I dropped it! That's so unfortunate. Dang. Pretty good on them to have the wherewithal to continue playing the game, though, right? In that situation. I know that stun was like, like very, very close to not hitting. All right, let's see what happens here. Just overhead. So again, I think like the main issue right now is that they're kind of eager to press, and we'll probably see a little more of that in the replay review when we take a look at it. But yeah, missed anti-air. Oh. Delayed jab got him there, right? They went for the kind of that tricky Chun stance overhead thing. And just kind of jabbed it. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's a reversal, huh? Oh, yeah, this might not be enough, actually. It's kind of a bad route. Let's see what happens here. But I do think that, again, they're kind of eager to press, and that's what's kind of getting them right now. Oh, it did work. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think it's just the neutral game aspect. They're kind of eager to press, and then on defense, in the corner, they were a little bit uneager. So let's take a look at one of the replays here. Bring them on. Hey team, what do you think? What'd you think?
Hey, I think my round twos were good.
Yeah, and I was really like impressed that you continued playing the game even after that stun. Like when I dropped the combo, I was like, oh man, that was good that you kept going there. So okay, let me share my screen in Discord for the replay review. But do you have any other thoughts while we were playing? What do you think?
I got caught by some of my bad habits I know I have, which is I walk back too much. What was the other one? I didn't challenge Jin Rai was the other one, I think. And I just got hit by the low every time.
Yeah, and that happens, right? That's kind of Ken gaming overall is catching while you're moving. So I think I'm gonna take a look at Let's see here.
All right, let me grab some pen and paper so I can take some notes.
All right. I think let's look at this one. I think it's game 2. Why is the... Can't
Oh,
see.
I think if you hit like B on your keyboard, it'll show and hide
Oh, is it V? Huh. Oh, you know what?
a
Maybe...
B. Because right now it's set to hide the results of every match.
Ah, here it is. It's in the...
Yeah.
You have to hit it back here. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's take a look at this one. I think this is probably the one we want. This is where I don't drop the combo here, so you don't have to watch that again on stream. Oh, but you did, because you did take the round 2 here without, you know, punishing a big mistake is obviously something you should be doing, and that's great that you did. But it may not be as helpful from like a replay review standpoint, right? It's like, oh, you punished a mistake, like not really a big coachable moment there in particular. Okay, so let's take a look at what happened in the neutral interactions here. Hopefully you can see my screen in Discord. So let me know if you can. All right, cool. Let's take a look. Yeah, so challenging Jin right here is tough, right? Is what it is. There's a whole thing on Jinrai you can take a look at, so I won't worry too much about this Jinrai pressure when you get hit by it. So the main thing I will say is that just continue blocking. If you're gonna fuzzy guard this, it should be low to high, not high
Blocking,
to low.
right? Yeah.
Because if you're trying to back out of the pressure here immediately, you get clipped low if I decide to low. So if you block low long enough, because I'll explain a little bit here, is that because there's a little bit of a frame difference between when the low comes out and the overhead, right? So if you block low first and then block high,
you'll be able to cover both options.
Exactly, yeah. So you do have to do a little lab work there just to get the timing down on how long to block low for. But the good thing is that if you do this and I do like no follow-up, then you'll back out of pressure. If I do the low, you'll block it, and if I do the overhead, you'll also block that, right? So that's a way to deal with this. There's some other ways too, right? Like you could reversal through this, blow through it, right? Some other stuff, but it's typically the
like after
way.
the first or the second hit.
Yeah, like after the medium. So let's see here. So right here, after this.
Oh.
Right here, right? You can fuzzy guard this, or you can also reversal, right? So you can just OD up kicks.
ODDP. Yeah. Okay.
So no big deal here, but you can take a look at how to deal with Jinrai. I mean, again, all cans use this all levels, right? So
right.
Okay. Taking the throw here is fine, I think, right? Not quite corner yet, but it's better than getting shimmied, right? So. Okay, so one thing I did notice was that you're very eager to press the button, right? And that's okay, right? Nothing wrong with that in particular, right? Because it actually works the first time, right? So if we look here,
yeah.
Like you walk up and press, right? So I kind of take note of that, right? Like, oh, I just got hit there. So what happened? In my head, I'm like, oh, well, I walked into their forward medium punch range, or yeah, I guess it's forward in this case. I guess it's the same thing if you do back, right? But anyway.
Yeah, it's 4 or 6. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll say forward medium punch just to make it easier for myself. But you do the forward medium punch here at a range that makes sense because I walk in a little too close, and then you just hit me, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. So in my head, I'm like, all right. So if I walk into this range here, this space here, right? I think that team is gonna press their forward medium punch, right? Like that's all I'm thinking in my head in this particular moment is that this spacing is where you like to press that. So I get hit by it, right? And then I try to induce the whiff this time. So I walk into the space, right? I let this, or rather in this case, you walk into the space and I don't press. Yeah. So I kind of back up, and then I see this, and it whiffs, right? So that space is pretty close. Not gonna lie, right? This is not a terrible.
Yeah, that one is like, oh man, that's
yeah.
unfortunate.
But in this case, I just didn't want to press, right? Because before the previous situation, you had actually hit me. I think it was counter hit here. Let's see. Actually, maybe not have been counter hit. Let me double check. I don't think so. I think you just hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it looks like what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to walk up, stand heavy punch you, right? So, and you kind of preempt that. See, like I press just a little bit after this. Because
I see.
I mean, because that's what I was trying to do, was trying to hit you, right? So you stuff this with a faster button, which is fantastic, right? This is actually great what you want to do. But then the next time this happens, I'm like, okay, I think this is the space that they like to press at. So I'm just going to try to hover outside of that and let you whiff it, right? So that was actually really close, right? But it happens to whiff, right? And then I'm just ready for the punish, right? So this 6, 9, 12, 13, 14-ish frames, and if you include the walk up and all that, I think that's reasonable for me to react in terms of a whiff punish here, right? So all this is going to say is that in neutral, right, when we're talking about the neutral game, and it's something that I think you may be struggling with now, is that we're constantly adjusting to each other, right? So if you kind of show a habit or a tendency and you don't make an adjustment after it works or doesn't work, that's what'll happen is your opponent will adjust potentially, and then now you have to deal with like, oh, I'm getting whiff punished now, right? Or like something else is happening.
Okay.
Right, so,
Gotcha. That's something because I don't know if I feel like I don't adapt that quickly. Like I feel like I have to get hit over the head by the same thing like 6 times before I
yeah,
start like,
yeah,
oh.
and that's a skill you have to develop, right? Because getting into master, especially with a character like Chun, that means that you're kind of able to play that neutral game in a manner that allows you to run people over, right? Like I feel like when you play your games currently, like in games you win, it's gonna and I'm hazarding a guess a little bit here, but it feels like you're able to press any button you want, it hits all the time, right? And everything works, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Like, oh, I just walk up and press my forward medium punch and it hits, right? Oh, my crouch and medium kick always seems to land, right? And you're kind of just doing this thing subconsciously where it's like, oh, all my buttons are working for me. And a lot of times it's because you're kind of adjusting a little bit, but the other side of that is that it's working. So why would you change what you're doing?
Right.
So, but yeah, that's what I mean is that sometimes when it stops working, you do have to make an adjustment, right? So it is kind of I don't want to say pretentious necessarily, but it is kind of funny when I talk about that because it's like, oh, that was just one small interaction where you hit me, and we spent like 5 minutes talking about how different that is. Right? And I think like that at that level, like a higher level, that's what happens, honestly. Like the adjustments are happening interaction to interaction, button to button, almost, right?
Yeah, because like for me, what was going on in my head is like I hit you, so I'm like, oh, well, usually people go, okay, well, he's doesn't get anything or he didn't cancel into anything, so let me walk forward, and that's usually what people will get clipped. So
Right,
okay.
right. Because like you're doing the move, right? Even though you didn't do anything, what it's doing subconsciously to your opponent is they have to react. They have to respect that in some capacity now, right? Whether that mean they disrespect it intentionally by walking forward and pressing a button, or they pay more attention to spacing or whatever, but it induces some sort of like change in behavior, if you will, like a reaction of some kind. And I think that for the times it works for you, what that means is that your opponent will start to move a little more, and then your crouching medium kick drive rush all of a sudden is easier to hit, right? Like you're able to land that all of a sudden.
Right.
So that's kind of what happened here. We'll take a look at the rest of the replay here, but that's kind of what happens here. So, okay, situation here, right? You take the DP after the whiff punish, right? Kind of wake up with a low here, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You delayed a little bit, so even if I had gone for a meaty here, it would have blocked. So I think it's okay, right? And then the jump out is good. I think this is pretty good awareness on your part, right? I don't DP it. I just block, but you're out of the corner, right? So that's good. And then you managed to clip me with the crouching medium punch. What does it look like?
Crouching medium
kick. Yeah, sorry.
kick. Yeah.
Managed to clip me, right? So what happened? Why did that work, right? So if we look at the space here, right? After I block the stand medium punch here, right?
Yep.
So we look at the spacing here, right? And like this space here means that both of our crouching medium kicks will probably land, right? But in my head, I'm like, I'm going to back up a little bit to try to get you to whiff it, right? So I try to move out of the space here after a little bit of delay, because I don't want you to like clip me immediately here after this happens, right? So what happens is you delay your crouching medium kick while I move, right? And you can see I actually, right there, I tried to move out of the space, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is actually good timing on your part, right? So the delay crouching medium kick to catch movement is a pretty big staple of a lot of Street Fighter 6 right now, right? So like you're at a space that's uncomfortable, and then you delay your crouching medium kicks to try to catch movement, right? So this is really good. But it is something that you have to watch out for on the other side if you get hit by it, right? And this is kind of what I was doing too. So let's take a look at the rest of the replay and see. All right, good conversion here. Spinning rear kick, right? Okay, situation. Right? Meaty stand medium punch, right? Manually timed, but it's all good. I just delay tech through this, I think. Yeah, I delay tech through that. Right? And right here is interesting, right? So I challenge with my jab and it clips you. So why did that work, right? So after the stand medium punch is blocked here, right? technically you're plus, right?
Mhm.
Like this is actually kind of a bad idea on my part to
Mm.
challenge this, right? But
Mhm.
the reason I do this is because a lot of times people are too used to their plus frames being respected, right? So this
Mm.
is our first interaction here. So I have a ton of health here, right? And like the
Mhm.
reward for Chun on this here, if you get the frame trap here, it's okay,
Mhm.
right? You'll get a
Mhm.
drive rush. If you drive rush here, you'll burn out, but you'll get some damage, or you get a
Mhm.
conversion, right? Like whatever the 5 framer is here, or 6 framer that you would do follow up here, you can convert
Mhm.
that into something. I'm sure there's a confirm, like a meterless confirm you can take. But
Mhm.
what ends up happening a lot of the time in this plus situation, right? Like I know I'm plus, I know I'm minus here, right? But I press anyway. And the reason for that is because, again, like I was saying, a lot of people will assume their plus frames will get respected, right? So instead of like doing a frame, like an airtight, not airtight, but like a frame trap here, or taking advantage of your plus frames, I think you actually
Mhm.
back up a little bit and then try to do a delay
Mhm.
button here, right?
Yeah,
You back up here and you try to
I
do
believe
like
so.
the medium punch, right? The crouch medium
Yeah,
punch.
actually, that one I think I was kind of just autopiloting into like what the string is like for the because after 5 MP you get 2 MP,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's just what that is. I don't I sometimes do. I usually don't hit confirm
Yeah,
the 5 MP.
and you can see here, I think it was actually pretty close. You actually missed it by a frame here, right? So let's take a look.
Uh,
If you had had that airtight, would that have worked or not? So
I don't think I think there is. It might be a spacing trap, but
okay, so it would have traded.
oh wow.
Yeah. So if you look
Huh.
right, because this is 6 frames, right? The crouching medium punch.
Yep. Yep.
So or sorry, is it 6? Yeah, 6 frames, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, what I'm getting at though is that when we're talking about plus frames, right, and why people press on minus frames like this, right? They go, I'm minus here. Why is Juzzy pressing? It's to
Mhm.
test to see if you are actually enforcing your plus frames or not, right?
Mhm.
A lot of players, I think, at this level, 1300, 1400, even 1500. I mean, frame data, right?
Yep.
Almost everyone knows like what's plus, what's minus, right? Maybe not everything, but like enough to be like, okay, I know I probably shouldn't press here, right? Or like,
Right.
if
Yeah. Yeah.
if your opponent is plus, you probably shouldn't press, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So what that means though is that a lot of times when you go into this string, it's respected and blocked, right? So even
Yep.
if you were to
Yep.
go into like the jab or whatever other 5 framer that you have to continue the
Mhm.
pressure here, it gets blocked.
Mhm.
So you're like, okay, there's not really a big reward for that anymore. So I'm going to do something else because my opponent tends to not press anything there, right? Or rather, my
Mhm.
opponents tend to not press anything.
Yeah.
But me
Yeah.
being me, I challenge, right? And I challenge here
Mm,
specifically for that reason, right? To see if you're actually enforcing those plus frames or not, right?
I see. Like actually, like frame trapping
Yeah,
into
yeah.
something.
Because if
Okay.
you're not,
Gotcha.
right, and if you're not frame trapping me here and doing something else, that means that I
Mhm.
don't necessarily have to worry about the plus frames anymore, right? Like if you do this and back
Mm.
off, then I can wake up with a crouching medium kick, right? Or not wake up, but reversal or sorry, react, take my turn with a crouching medium kick, right? Like
Mhm.
I can do something else. I don't necessarily just have to block if I notice you're not following up from this situation, right? So and it's kind of a higher level thing, I think. Like pressing on minus frames is like a specific reaction. It's not like I'm just mashing it for no reason, right? I'm like testing something.
Yeah. 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 It's like the ODDP. It's not every time like it is in at
Yeah,
lower ranks,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it
yeah.
becomes like a game in of it, like an actual game and something to think about.
Right, right. Because if I allow you to just get away with having plus frames all the time, you can do whatever you want here, right? For all I know, you can just
Mm.
throw me, right? You can like do
Right.
anything if I just continue respecting, right? So I have to do something sometimes, right?
Mm.
So basically, that's what happened in this interaction, right? It was that you had some plus frames, and I wanted to see if you were actually going to enforce them or not, right? So I challenged you
Mm.
to 4 frame, and you can see that happen, right? And if you had even gone for the crouching medium punch here, it actually trades, right? So at any rate, this is giving me information on what's happening, right? So you went for another button here that might have been a little slow, right? Or maybe because I can't see that you're pressing crouching medium punch here, right?
Right. Right.
All I know is I got a counter hit.
You got counter hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my head at this point, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they tried to be a little greedy with their plus frames, right? Maybe they press like a 7 frame or 8 frame button. Maybe they press something
Mhm.
that's a little bigger, right? I didn't know that you missed it by a frame,
Mhm.
right? I can't know that, obviously. But all the information I get is I get it. Oh, I landed a counter hit on those plus frames, right? So maybe
Right.
being a
For
little
for what
greedy.
it's worth, too, I actually don't. I think that 5 MP being being +2 is a fluke. Normally, it's not.
Hmm.
I think normally it's +1. It's just because of
The meaty.
I also messed up the meaty.
Yeah.
I know I have a dash micro walk to help me time
Hmm.
it, but I just ended up manually timing it. So
Yeah, and
no,
that's okay
yeah.
too, right? Like you can manually time things and just assume the +1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I challenged anyway, right? Like
Right, right,
I didn't, I couldn't have known that I know it's plus. I couldn't have known that it was actually +2, not +1, right?
right,
So it's
right.
like, challenge anyway here. Also,
Mm-hmm.
again, in a +1 situation, right? It's not really true strike throw anyway, right? So like
Yeah,
me
yeah. That's
challenging
true,
here
true.
would be, against your throw or something, right? So, but at any rate,
Mm-hmm.
that whole interaction, right, basically just you get information about each other in this situation, right? So it's like, oh, he
Mm-hmm.
pressed there, right?
Right, right.
Plus same. Okay, so in your head now, it should be I should enforce this plus
Uh,
frames, right? Like, oh,
right,
he pressed
right.
here, right? I should enforce the plus frames with something a little bit tighter, right? And in my head, I'm like, oh, they went kind of greedy with their plus frames. So does that mean I can continue challenging, or do I want to, next time this happens, do I want to like actually block because maybe they make the adjustment or not, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the level that's what's happening in this small counter hit jab, right? Uh, yeah, I missed the link. One frame late, I miss it. Unfortunately, by my frame, is what it is.
Mm.
That's unfortunate. The
Yeah,
Chun-Li DP,
that's
yeah,
yeah. This is season 3. Fingers
yeah. Let's
crossed.
hope they buff that a little bit, right? At least on the cross up. It's a little tough here. I think you can
Yeah.
anti-air with like what is it?
No, you can definitely the Tensho does work. You have to delay it a little more than I did
Yeah,
is
get the
all.
cross cut. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
Oh, sorry, autocorrect. I guess in this case because it's down, right?
Yeah.
No. All
Yeah. Yeah.
right, cool. So you blocked the meaty here. Good. Delay tech. It's totally fine, right? Plus, I missed it by a frame, but it's still
Mm.
0, right? So
Mhm.
you just have to kind of assume that I'm plus. Like I would assume I'm plus here anyway, right? Because it did a
Mhm.
setup. Right, you don't press here. Good. Right, so I kind of get a little greedy here, right? So this is a minus situation for Ken after the stand medium punch, right? Right here. Right.
Oh.
After this, it is your turn, right? So that just might be a knowledge check thing here, like after this, because again, none of Ken's buttons are actually plus, right? Like his best is actually 0, right? So without drive rush anyway, and not in burnout, right? So here is technically your turn, right? So I kind of get greedy and press the crouch medium kick because you are kind of not pressing, right? So
Right. Right.
so this would be a situation where a challenge would be a good idea, right? 4-frame challenge here,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, on a minus situation like this, right? Because what'll happen, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the adjustment that'll happen from both of us here is that let's say that the next time this happens, you challenge me instead, right? So you're able to press your 4-frame and counter hit me there. You get a small conversion of some kind, right? Counter hit jab into whatever, right? What that now does is that now in the same situation again later on, if I am minus, I'm less incentivized to press because you're more willing to challenge in those minus situations. So because I'm not pressing anymore, now you can kind of get away with like jumps, walk up throw, whatever else, right? Like you can kind of make the adjustment to how I'm adjusting to your reaction to that, right? The reason I'm bringing this up like this, because I feel like what's happening in your games is that like this part of the game, that the adjustments are happening at this level, at this kind of speed, it might be what you're missing currently, right? Because it felt like when we were playing, there was a little bit of adjustment towards the second and third game, but it took a little bit of time, like you were saying. Right?
Yeah.
So,
For sure. For sure.
but these are the kind of smaller situations that kind of snowball into what happens later on in the set, right? So like to see
I see.
if I can take advantage of you not pressing when I'm minus, that means I can get away with some stuff. Right? I can steal my turn and continue applying pressure, and I have a ton of gauge here, right? So I can just continue pressing, drive rush, cancel, or whatever else, continue my pressure here, right? So burn you out, right? Now this is really scary, right? Like only have level 1 here. I'm burned out in the corner against Kenyo's full meter, and I'm 1 interaction away from dying, right? DI is a real
Yeah.
possibility now, right? All this stuff that is scary about being in the corner here. So, and bravely jump out, and it works, right? I tried to forward dash here, maybe try to throw you or something. Take advantage of your passiveness, and you jump out, right? This is perfect. So now you can have all the space in the world to back up, try to get your meter back. So, what you do, right? So, the unfortunate draw, unfortunate jump in gets, you're not able to anti-air, and I don't finish
Yeah.
you off here like you should have. That's a mistake on my part, but and then the delay tech at the end. This is really difficult to defend, to be honest, right? I don't fault you for delay teching it all there because you'll die to the throw, right? Like,
Yeah.
you gotta guess, right? So, is what it is. So yeah, I would say that if we were to take anything from the last round, what it really comes kind of down to is some of the adjustments that need to happen between interactions. Now, I'm not expecting you to be able to like, make this decision because like we've been talking about 2 or 3 interactions for like the past 20 minutes or so, and those interactions happened in like a second, if that,
Right.
like less than that. So that's just something that you'll have to work on. But that's what's happening, right? That's how I'm kind of beating you here, is that I'm taking advantage of that tendency that you have to not press, and that you weren't pressing in that situation. So I just kind of continue my pressure, right? So, all right. So I think you did better in this round. So let's take a look. All right. So there it is again, right? So in this case here, I thought you were going to press something. So that's why I just stuck a hitbox out there, right? So when you talk about neutral game here, right, space dictates what you can and can't do, right? So my stand medium kick will likely counter poke anything you do from right here, right? So if you press something, the stand medium kick will stuff it, right?
Yep.
Right. So in this case, you were walking forward, and it looks like you were actually about to press.
Yeah. It's just yep.
Yeah. So if I was a little bit later on this, right, I would have got a counter hit instead, but same result, right? I hit you here. So I'll talk a little more about this. So what's happening now, right, is that ideally you're kind of disincentivized to press in that situation now, right? Because I'm landing hits as you walk into space. So now in your head, you're like, oh, I can't really walk into that space anymore, right? I'm going to get hit. So I need to be a little more careful about what spacing I'm playing at, right? So in my head, though, like on your opponent's side, it's like, all right, great. Every time they walk forward, I'm just going to press a button and hopefully clip them, right? So let's see how the rest of the game goes. All right, that was good. So same situation here, right? I'm trying to back up now because I didn't like the space I was standing at, and you hit me with crash and kick. Perfect, right? Conversion. Right, get the throw. Good. I just take the throw here. I'm okay with that. Right. And then I make a mistake here. I kind of misinput my Jinrai. It's supposed to be a medium Jinrai there. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I was wondering, like,
Yeah, that happens to me every so often, right? Especially off a drive rush for whatever reason. Sometimes that'll come out, and that's just me being not clean in my inputs here. But yeah, that was supposed to be a Jinrai. It didn't quite work. Anyway, good conversion here, right? The 4-frame punish, good stuff. All right. Plus again, and I jab again. Right? So I tried again to catch you here, but it whiffs this time. Right, so that should give you some indication, and it gave me indication too, right? It's like, okay, they're backing up a little bit out of that situation, right? They're kind of they're not trying to be greedy on the turn stealing here with like a bigger button. They kind of back up here, maybe expecting me to reversal or something else, right? And then you go for this button here, which would have been great had that gone out a little bit sooner, but no big deal, right? You still get the it's on block anyway. Turns over, but at least it didn't, there's no negative aspect to this, right? I take my turn back kind of aggressively here, right? And you block, which is good. You didn't try to extend at all. So I burn out for this, which is a mistake on my part, but I get a throw, right? Whoop-de-doo, right? But the big thing is now you're in the corner, so I have a chance to get back in the game, right? Again, I don't mind taking the throw there in particular. I think it's not the worst thing in the world, mostly because even in this situation, you still have a ton of meter to work with, right? Like you can, and you've been successful at jumping out of the corner, so I'm not too worried about. Like if I was you, I wouldn't be too worried about this situation. I would just be concerned about trying to get in my face again and play neutral, right? So, right, and then good DI. Right? Chun-Air combos.
Yeah, that was actually a drop. I was trying to go into level 3.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that you should have supered there, but it's okay. All right, so again, spacing dictating what I can and can't do, right? So I'm standing at a space where this button makes sense to press. Right, so here, can't stand heavy punch, probably makes sense to press here. You try to stuff it with the medium kick here. I think it's just a little late. I think if you had pressed a little sooner, you probably would stuff this, but it was a little late. It's all good. Okay, and then that's it.
Right? Like that.
Yeah, I get greedy on the stand heavy punches, right? And then you're able to hit me here, right? Okay, so in that time there was pretty good awareness on your part to challenge in certain cases and not challenge in other cases. I think the big interaction here. So that mistake here, and then this right here, you not getting hit there, right? That's actually pretty good, like a good adjustment on your part there, enforcing the plus frames a little bit differently by not, taking a big button there, but instead kind of backing up, right? Because realistically, most people will challenge with a 4 frame, right? So you're out of range out of the jab, that's good, right? And then I make the mistake of burning out here, right? And this is kind of what does me in, right? Is that I can't really extend anymore. So like the times I did hit you with Stand Heavy Punch, I couldn't do anything with it, right? Right, so level 3, but doesn't come out, right? And then here, right? Like I can't really extend from here, right? I should be canceling,
Right.
but I can't do it anymore, right? So, but then I get greedy and lose here, right? So it's a good adjustment on your part at the end to be ready for the crouching medium kick there. But yeah, I think that if you made some good adjustments in neutral here for that, right? So it's good. Unfortunate drop, but it is what it is. I wouldn't fault you at all for supering there. I think that makes a lot of sense to do it, right? So
yeah, I was actually curious about that because I kind of got lucky and it worked out.
Yeah.
But like I could have guaranteed the kill for sure.
Yeah.
Leave me at meter disadvantage, but I don't know.
Well, the way I see it is that if you ended up losing the round, you can't take level 3 with you into game 2, right? So,
That's true. It's very true.
it really just it's kind of a feel thing. A lot of me personally, I tend to be a little conservative there, meaning I'll go for the super, right? I'll guarantee the kill, even if it means I'm overspending a little bit of bar. You build meter really fast in this game, right? So even if you level 3 there and killed me, by the end of this game, when it was relevant, you'll probably have level 2, right? Definitely level 1. Right,
right.
For that for sure. Probably level 2, right? And if the game goes like you parry a bunch of stuff and everything else, you could even have level 3 potentially. I've definitely had games where people have had level 3 by the end of the game, right? So you build meter really fast. So especially for Chun, who doesn't necessarily need like all of her supers are just like damage supers, right? So it's not like there's a ton of utility or difference between level 2 and level 3 in particular. In fact, it actually, there's situations where you go for level 2 and you build a level, you build enough for level 1 during that, right? That can happen too. Right? So, my feel would be if you can super to secure the round, I think you should do it. There's no reason not to in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
At least I feel, right? Because again, you can't take it with you, right? So and if you're not using it, it's kind of burning your hole in your pocket, right? Like you might as well. That's what it's for potentially. Again, especially for Chun, no install super, no busted level 2. Well, it's kind of busted, but there's no. It's not a machine level 2 or Blanco level 2 where you save it specifically for those regions.
Right.
It's a damage super, right? So you might as well go for it. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Some people feel differently. Some people feel like they have to save it for a kill situation or whatever, or like burnout situations or whatever. You can debate the merits of that, but my opinion is that if you can secure the win and it's not like like level 3ing him when I have a sliver of health, right, or something like that. Maybe even then you could probably do it if it secures the win, right? So I'm a fan of spending meter. I'll put it that way. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go for parry here. I don't mind that option. It's just unfortunate it gets thrown.
It's a bad habit of mine though.
Parry on the I think it's So it's an interesting thing, right? Drive rushes in particular, right, especially on block, represent a mix-up, right? So you do have to guess. There are some things you can do, right? You can like option select a DP here potentially.
Right, after the
after the block, right? You can D-rev maybe, or delay tech, take the throw, whatever, right? You have to guess essentially, right? I don't mind parry because a lot of people do go into a button from that situation, right? It's not like unheard of because as the opponent pressing the drive rush, I'm incentivized to do that because I'm going to get plus frames if my button goes through.
Right.
It's not a bad option. But if you see me going for drive rush throw a lot, then maybe parry isn't correct. Or maybe switch to like a delay tech if you don't want to take the throw, like delay tech, or just block if you're okay with taking the throw, right? Because with parry, you're basically saying to me that you're okay taking the throw, right? Because parry beats a specific option. If I do anything else, right, like it's going to lose, right? Because if I shimmy or do something else, I can react, right, to the parry. So. Okay, so what happened here, right? Let's take a look. I wish there was a way for Capcom to make the scenes like a smaller number of frames.
Yeah.
Okay, get anti-aired here. Okay, so this is a situation where I think you had the right idea, but it was late, right? So the spacer is actually too close for me, Right? I shouldn't be pressing a stand heavy punch here, right? It's actually a mistake on my part. But because you're a little late on the button, you
I
get
get
countered.
stuffed.
Yeah. So. Okay. So now I've noticed you've teched twice, right? So I'm gonna shimmy you. I know myself. I'm probably gonna shimmy you the next interaction that comes in. Let's see what happens. All right, some Jinrai stuff. Get DP'd. Yeah. Right. Unfortunate. But that's what happens with conditioning, right? You've been thrown a few times, right? And you delay tech a few times. So now it's like, all right, they're going for throw. I'm gonna keep delay teching. I think that here it's a little tough because I'm a little bit far away, but I don't fault you for delay teching, right? So like from right here. Yeah, okay. Right? They can walk and throw. It's possible, right? But yeah, I don't fault this at all in terms of like the spacing, but it is kind of tough, right? Because this delay tech here does represent death for you, right? If I don't drop the super, but this represents death, right? So if you delay tech here, full level 3, 2 drivers cancels here, that's gonna be game, right? So. Right, so if we
as soon as the delay tech came out, I'm like, I'm dead.
Yeah. And it's tough, right? Like, you are having to make a decision defensively in those situations, right? And like the way I play Ken does tend to induce that because I go for throw a lot, right? I tend to throw people until they start delay teching, and then I'll start shimmying them, right? So you do make some adjustments in the later games where you're actually using like a wake up low or wake up crouch medium kick to beat the shimmy, and then I just go back to throwing you again, right? But that's the adjustment that needs to happen, though, right? Is like, okay, like the Juzzy shimmied me once, and I think that might have been the first delay tech you miss in this game anyway. So you end up dying for it, but it is game one, right? So the set is still going on.
Right.
But it is tough. You do have to make a decision there. It's just that when you make that delay tech decision, right, you have to weigh in not just like, is it going to break the throw or not, but like worst case scenario, what happens, right? Like, and this is why you see a lot of pros like just take a million throws, right? Because if you think about the situation there, missing a delay tech means you die, right? Getting thrown means it's 1200 damage, right? So like from a
like a game theory
perspective, right? It's better to take the throw in a lot of those cases. Also, it'll kill you, right? Like if it's gonna kill you, then yeah, you have to guess. There's not really an optimal quote unquote option. But that you do even in those situations where you the game theory quote unquote says you're supposed to take the throw, you do have to make a defensive decision, right? Because if you don't, you get throw looped, right? And that can suck too. The main difference, though, is that you get another chance to guess, right? So you guess delay tech, you were wrong, and that's it. No more guessing, right? But if you take the throw here, you get another chance.
There's another interaction.
Exactly, right? Is that better or worse? At least you have a chance, right?
Right.
But again, if you go for delay tech there, like all those factors have to come into your decision. Now, if you made all those, if you went into that, right, you made a decision, okay, I'm going to delay tech because I don't want to lose to that throw. I want to reset to neutral. Then I don't fault it, right? As long as you're making a conscious decision for that defensive decision you made, right? Autopiloting the delay tech. That's a problem, right? If I notice you autopiloting it, then I'll be like, okay, you can't do that anymore, right? But if you make that defensive decision where it's like, I want to reset back to neutral, I don't want to take another throw here, and I'm willing to take that risk, I don't mind at all, right? That's how Street Fighter 6 is played. You make the decision and let the chips fall where they may, right?
Right.
So.
Anyway. I guess for me, one part of this too is like you mentioned like that you can kill, and I maybe could have calculated that just like looking at it now. In the moment, definitely like I was not aware of like how much bar. It's like I'm like, need to guess here. I don't know.
Yeah.
What to do.
Definitely something that as you get better, you'll have to get a better game, like quote unquote game sense, right? So what is like if you look at the situation, right, like this random situation right here, right, like I don't know what part of the game is. I've been looking at something other than my other screen while I'm talking, but like if you look at the situation here, higher level players will have an idea of what options are available and what you're likely to do from those options, right? So like if you look at the situation here, both of us have pretty high health, right, full super meters, right, and healthy drive bar. So what I'm thinking here is that you have at least one drive rush cancel or OD move in the tank. Same for me, right? So that means that like you're incentivized to go for crouch medium kick drive rushes, right, or OD fireball into drive rush potentially, right? Spend some meter, but you have meter, And when you have meter, that gives you options, right? Additionally, and this is something that I think more players do that they don't really think about, and sometimes it's subconscious, is that you have an idea how much damage this represents, right? For a character, right? Ken is technically on the lower end, actually, like a little bit, but if you consider like in general, a character that has 3 bars here for a drive rush cancel into super, you're probably gonna deal around half your health, right?
Right.
Most of the time. Ken a little bit, you know, maybe a little bit more for most characters, right? But you can safely assume at least half, right? Assuming the person does a reasonable route with 1 drive rush cancel, right? I think Ken here can do like 5,500. I know Chun can probably do around that, if not a little more, right? With level 2 or something like that.
So yeah.
Or you go to level 3 with 1 drive rush cancel, you could probably deal maybe a little over 5,500. The point is that like if I'm at half health in this situation here, I know I'm a hit from death or very close to it, right? It doesn't have to be exact, right? It's not like you have to know, oh, down to the pixel or whatever. But your overall game sense does need to kind of get better here, right? Because if you know what options your opponent has, it allows you to kind of play around certain things, right? So, like you saw in the previous example, I was burned out, so you don't have to worry about drive rush cancels or DIs, right? Even a lower, like, you don't have to worry about DI anymore, right? No parry anymore, right? Right? All that stuff. Like,
that's why I'm like, oh, Jinrai, okay, DI through this.
Yeah, exactly, right? There's no risk anymore in particular, right?
Yeah.
Or less risk, rather, not no risk, but there's less risk.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when you have meter, right? The options that your opponent have, right? But I do think that general game sense probably do need to get better at that if like you weren't aware in that scenario, like that delay tech could have killed you. It's just something you have to develop, I think. Good players manage not just their own meter, but their opponent's meter, right? And what I mean by that is that like they're aware of how far they are from burnout, how many drivers cancels they have, how many OD moves they have, where this meter is, right? How much super they have, right? Where their health is. So you have an idea of all that stuff, right? Because like even from a offensive standpoint, when you land a hit, you have to look at my health or have an idea how much health I have to know what route to take, right? Oh, can I cash out and kill them or not, right? So why not extend that to the rest of the meters in the game, right? The super meter here, the OD bar here, right? You should or drive gauge here, right? So yeah. Any other questions right now? We'll hop into one of the games that you sent me. Take a look at that replay. But before I do that, what I would take from here in this last game is that you did make some adjustments in neutral to what I was doing, right? Like you were more aware of like throws happening, but there was a couple of neutrals interactions here where the spacing was maybe a little bit rough. You did some jumps that I anti-aired, right? So you're obviously teching a lot more. And then I think I land a hit here. Yeah, right here, right? And then after this throw. Or here, the DP, sorry, not the throw, but this DP right here. This was it, right? Like the critical decision right there.
Yeah.
Again, all of that we were talking about just comes down. All of that stuff boiled down to this decision right here, right? And then,
right.
Again, obviously with the hindsight of 2020, we know that the delay tech was incorrect, right? Because it got shimmied. But if you think about before that, all of the decision points to go into making that decision, now we have a better idea, right? Health, meter, right? Risk reward, all that stuff, right? So again, I don't fault you for doing this. Like this is very common. Like I've been throwing you a ton, and you were like, I'm tired of getting thrown. But you know, it is what it is, right? Because even if you super here reversal me, I still win, right? Because I'm shimmying. Right? So, it is what it is. But yeah, I think that might be some of what. Let's take a look at one of the games here and see how that goes out. But while I'm loading it up, any burning questions you have?
No major question. I am a little concerned because I feel like I play ranked different.
Sure. Yeah. No, 100%. And that happens to everybody. So let's take a look at this Cammy game here. I think this should be a good one. Uh-oh.
Oh. Is it not?
No, that's my bad. I put player name. My bad.
Oh, gotcha.
It should be replay ID. There we go. So, all right. So let's take a look at this guy here. All right. So, now obviously, like, you know, you hop into a custom room and you see someone's MR and it's like 300 points more than you're like, okay, I got to play a little different. But you go into ranked and it's like, all right, I got to deal with these monkeys in ranked, right? So, I mean, I know it's a little facetious to say it that way, but that's what happens, right? You're like, okay, ranked is a different animal, right? First to two and all that stuff. But let's see what I would say. All right, so. right? Cammy saw Footsy's video, so that's where they're walking back and forth, right? Okay, so that's the situation here, right? So let's take a look at how the Cammy did in the first three interactions, right? So I know this might be a little bit at this rate, maybe a little bit overkill, but let's take a look, right? Walk up, stand medium kick. Right? Good range actually, right? So decent range for that. They do that, right? Okay, do it again, right? They actually try to do it there. Right? Like if you look, the counter hit on the fireball. They're pressing the stand medium kick, right?
Yeah.
Now, would you have seen that in game? Maybe not, right? Like I see the animation, maybe not. But what you do know is you got a counter hit.
Right.
So now you're kind of aware that this person wants to walk up and press a button, right? So what this means though, and then you get hit here as you try to walk up and press your button, right? So you try to walk up and press your forward medium punch, right? And it gets stuffed, right? Because they preempted you here, right?
Yeah.
So neutral game. When we talk about that, and I think this is probably something you'll probably need to pay more attention to, right? So when we're talking about neutral game in particular, and both players are standing up and there's no advantage, like frame advantage or anything like that, right? So what is the goal, right? Most of the time for most characters, outside of like zoners like JP, Guile, whatever, your goal is to walk up and press a button to hit them, right? Like you want to get in range of your button, get in range so that you can press your button to get your offense started, whatever that happens to be. Maybe you poke them, maybe you do crouching medium kick, whatever, right? But the point is you need to get into their space to do it, one way or the other, right? Either you walk in or they walk in or you jump, whatever, right? The point though is that when you walk into someone's space, it's going to elicit some kind of response, right? And maybe they do nothing, right? Maybe they do nothing, that's also a response, right? Like in this case, if you look, he's walking a bunch and you're not doing anything, right? Which is fine, right? Like he's out of range in most cases here, so there's no reason for you to react. But as soon as he walks into a range where he can do something, he does something, right? And like that's what happens in neutral, is that both players are trying to get into each other's space in order to interact, right? Push buttons, whatever. So when someone walks into that space, that reaction that is happening, you have to pay attention to that, right? So if I was the Cammy here and I walk up and press, I notice that you don't move.
Right.
You just block, right? Same thing again, right? So now I'm kind of incentivized to just walk up and throw you, right? That you're not really pressing anything, or like if I try to poke you, you're not really reacting, right? So you're not really reacting.
Yeah.
Anything. Like you don't press anything, you don't counter hit at all. So like my next interaction here, I may not actually poke you if I was Cammy. I might just walk up, try to throw you. Or I may walk in and out of that range to see if you react or not, right? So if you look here, this Cammy's walking back and forth, but this is way outside of range of anything you can do, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for you to react here. So like this trying to bait a response from this far away is not going to happen typically, right? But then they walk and press the button, lands, right? Do it again. Do it a third time. This time you get counter hit, right? Because you went for a fireball here. So all of that is going to say that this if I'm you, this Cammy wants to walk in and press a button. Right? How do I take advantage of that, right? So, in this case, right, the term for it. Have you seen the Footsie's triangle video that people talk about from High Fight?
I don't know if I've seen that exact video. I'm generally aware of what the triangle is, right? You have pokes, counter pokes, and whiff punishes, right?
Okay. Yeah, exactly, right? So they walk up, press a button, right? That's the hit attack. If you stop them from walking in, it's the cover, right? And then the whiff punishes, you induce a whiff, right? So in this case here, they're doing a hit attack, right? So they're walking up and trying to press a button. So the way you stop that is by either doing your own button here, which you did, right? Like you press your button to try to stuff them from walking in, like maybe press a longer range button, or in this case you did a fireball, which is fine. Or you wait for them to get in range and then you back up and let them whiff, right? So you whiff punish that way, right? Those kind of the main ways to get around that. Typically we talk about stuffing the button instead, because typically people will press like a longer range button that has a little more startup in this situation. So normally you try to stuff it with a faster one, right? But if they're pressing stand medium kick, which is relatively quick, better options are to either try to whiff punish it or walk up with even faster button, right? Maybe walk up with like a light button or something like that. But that's the neutral game aspect, right? Is that you're reacting to something they're doing. So let's take a look at the rest of the game here. That's why you get hit here. is that they're doing what they've been continuing to do, and then you tried to do something else that would lose to that. In this case, they're just pressing the button, and you tried to walk in and press the button faster, and you get stopped, right? So, okay, so this is extremely common right here, right? Happens to everybody, all levels, all the time. You got hit. Oh man, I got hit. I gotta get out of pressure here. Bam. Right? So, happens to everybody all the time. If something happens, you try to back up. Right? So, what I will say is that you did a better job of this in our games, where you kind of stood your ground a little bit longer, right? Try not to back up immediately. Because if you look, the Kami only waits like a frame or two before pressing, right? And that's typically enough time for someone to back up. But if you continue blocking here, right, you don't get clipped. They're still going to driver's cancel because they can't confirm it, like singly confirm the crouching medium kick.
Right.
But dealing with the mix-up is better than getting hit, right? Like here, you're going to hit combo, right?
Yeah.
If you deal with the mix-up, you have a chance, right? Maybe you still get opened up, but you have a chance. Right? You could delay tech through it, reversal, whatever, right? But anyway, you get hit here, unfortunately. So I will say that, that's a very common thing. If you, after an interaction of some kind, try to pay attention to the space between you guys after. Because if you want to back up, right, a lot of times you're not going to be able to back up in time before you get clipped by a low, right? Especially for a character with a cancel low forward, right? Cammy's tons, whatever, right? Against like a JP or someone that doesn't have that low forward cancel, it might be a little bit easier to do, but they can still clip you though, right? You get swept or something like that, right? And that sucks.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing that happens to me.
Yeah.
All the time, more often than it should.
Yeah. And it's because of that instinct to back up, right? Because I want my space back because I just got hit, and I think that you have to work towards standing your ground a little bit more to get out of the situation, right? Because what'll happen if this Kami is paying attention, right, and you stand your ground and do the delay, and you block the low forward here, the next time that interaction happens, they're probably not going to go for a low forward again, right? Maybe they do something else, right? So if that's the case, and now they've changed what they're doing, now you can back up, right? Oh, they're trying to go for walk and throw. Maybe I can stuff it now, right? Maybe I can press my own button. Maybe I can jump. Maybe I can back up, right? Like that avenue opens up. But if you choose the option that loses to like their layer one, right, the thing that they're trying to do, that sucks, and they'll continue doing it. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to make an adjustment. Just be aware, right? If you're after interaction, you get hit somehow. Maybe I was holding back instead of down back. Like I was trying to move. So wait a beat before you back up, basically. Stand your ground. Right? All right, so Kami does this combo, right? Gives her an Oki situation with a 4 dash, right? So +6, I think, or +8, something like that. Whatever it is, 20, whatever. Plus, right? So crouching heavy punch happens, right? +1. You try to jump. It's fine. I don't mind that, right? A lot of Kamis will go for a throw right here, right? But you can see that this Kami actually enforced their plus frames, right? They went for a jab after. Doesn't confirm it in anything, but All right, perfect parry, unfortunate. Ooh, okay. So you had a chance here to actually delay tech, I think. Right?
Yeah, because it wasn't punish counter, throw.
So that's kind of the thing about these high parries here, like this, right? So like. Right, you can go for a jump, right, or a delay tech, or just something else. Just know that if the parry is kind of high, you may have a chance, right? So a lot of times what people will do is they'll just delay tech anyway, right? Even though you think it might be a guaranteed punish, like delay tech anyway, if you're not sure. Might as well.
I see.
Again, it depends, right? Some players are aware that this is a delay techable moment, and they'll shimmy, like they'll neutral jump or do something else.
Right.
So you have to be aware, but it's not. This shouldn't be free necessarily for the Kami. Now, if you take the throw here, that's totally fine too. Like you just block, it's fine. But yeah, this is not exactly a. I think I'm. Anyway, good parry, good throw. All right, so driver shin plus frames. Managed to clip them with the stance.
Or that one's a 2 HP.
The crouching air punch.
I believe. Yeah.
Oh, it's not the stance one. Sorry, the stance one is the one she comes down, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's stupid looking. They look the same.
Yeah. So they went for parry after this, right? So it is what it is. It's not. This isn't exactly a link, right? Like it weren't.
It should be a block string if I'm doing it
Oh,
right.
okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So it looks like maybe because it was a hit. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
I
because it
mean,
was the
probably
second
because it
hit.
was a hit.
Yeah, like the second hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Unfortunate. They went for parry right after, right? A lot of players do this too. I think they'll tap parry during block streams and stuff. Like, there's not really a whole incentive or a whole reason not to, in my opinion, other than you
Yeah.
lose the APM, obviously. But it's like, you know, if they drop it, you might get a perfect parry here, right? So
Mm-hmm.
might as well go for it.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, APM?
Actions per minute. Sorry, it's a art.
No, no,
Yeah.
I'm.
Oh,
How does that?
yeah. I mean, like, just, you know, you have to press the button, right?
Oh,
So
I see. I see. It's just like
yeah,
taking
you're
the
taking up your own
mechanical. Yeah,
mechanical
yeah.
skill or whatever you want to call it, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
the only, like, if I were to think of a downside for why you wouldn't necessarily want to be pressing
Gotcha.
parry during that, it's because it's costing you that mechanical, you know, the actual action of it, right? Some players
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter, right? People do it, doesn't, they don't really care, but some people do. I don't know. Anyway, so you take that. Unfortunate perk bear here. The issue with this. All right, another Oki situation here. Let's see how you do. Reversal against the shimmy, unfortunately, right? I don't mind this reversal at all, actually. They had been going for a lot of media pressure, so it's probably fine to go for that, you know. Okay, another situation here. Let's see. Okay, they go for a jab. Okay, so you block it. It's fine. Oh, you got counter hit off the spin knuckle here, trying to press. That's unfortunate. Off the crouching medium punch, huh? Okay. Try to take a turn back here. It gets counter hit, unfortunately, and I think they're probably going to confirm this into sound like it, right? Okay. Alright, so you had a chance here. I do think that this jump... was it a jump attempt? Let's see.
I think it was.
Yeah. That's tough. I think that trying to jump in that situation may not work because the driver's just coming in, right? So, like, you're not going to be able to get through. Like, your pre-jump frames are going to get clipped. Unless they go for a throw, potentially. But that's a big risk, I think. A lot of people will just continue with their plus frames in this situation, right? So, I think just blocking would have been fine here. Maybe even a delay tech. I do think a jump is kind of a harder call out. If you were thinking throw, I think it's fine, like this decision you made. But I would have either blocked or delay tech here because you can't necessarily die to another button, right? Like you have meter to block it, right? So it's a tough situation. It's hard to come back from here. But I think choosing to jump here loses to the common options that this Kami would have done, basically. So unfortunate. But if I were to take the situation here, like how did you end up actually kind of losing this game, was mostly because of the one low forward that you got hit by, right? There. And then you get stuck in the corner.
Yeah.
Right? Perfect parry happens, you get back thrown,
Yeah.
and you're still in the corner, right? So the Kami kind of applies pressure here, lands a couple of perfect parries after they fish for it, and it puts you in a situation where you guess reversal and they block it, right? So if I would, again, like the defensive decision making here, I don't mind it as much. But I do think some of the neutral interactions, some of the perfect parry stuff was unfortunate as well. But I think the neutral interaction stuff, like you could probably do a little better by not moving, right? That's kind of the takeaway, I think. So
Yeah. Just block low.
walk low, yeah, stand there, right? Like what are they gonna do? Right?
Yeah.
Like if they try to walk up, you can press your jab, right? If they try to press a button and the drivers cancel, they use 3 bars for a throw mix up. Like is that worth it? Probably not, right? Like getting a throw off of 3 bars is bad rates in my opinion, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. So again, like if you look at what this Kami is trying to do, they're trying to get you to do something. But it's
Yeah.
like, why would you from this far away? There's nothing happening here. Right?
Yeah.
So you do a better job of like standing at a more appropriate space. But that is something you see pretty typical of like this level of gameplay is that like the spacing aspect is not as like clean, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Like when we
Yeah.
played, and I hazard a guess here that it felt like I was standing really close to you, right? Feels like I was probably like in your face a lot more than you're used to in most
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
So that spacing is where like more of these kind of interaction things can actually happen, right? From this spacing, like nothing will happen, right? Like what's Kami threatening from here? Raw spiral arrow, dive kick, jump, and like knuckle, right? That's really what they're threatening from this space, right?
Right.
So, you know, which unfortunately you get clipped by because they made a read, right? Unfortunate. All right, so the Kami here now is switched to like jab pressure, right? They haven't really gone for any sort of meaty here. So now you're defending this with like your own delay jab, it looks like, right? You can probably just play neutral in the corner here. Right. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I don't mind what you did here, actually. Right. So when you're in the corner, right? Let's talk about the corner situation, right? Why it's bad. So typically in neutral, right, you can adjust space by walking backward, right? So like if they walk forward and they're too close, you can walk back to get out of that range. In the corner, you can't do it anymore, right? So you don't have the option to whiff punish is not really a thing anymore because the opponent can just walk into the correct space for their button and press, and you can't do anything about it, right? So the way that you get out of the corner, like in a stable way, stable-ish manner, typically, is by playing this unfair neutral game, right? And the options that you have available to you in terms of like how to play that is you can walk forward and press your button, or try to press your button as they walk into your space, right? You can't really do the whiff punish because you can't move anymore. Like those are the two main ways to deal with that. Now, of course, you do other things, right? You can jump Hassan Chu, right? You can do other like kind of harder read stuff or higher risk stuff. But we're talking about trying to get out of the corner in a stable-ish way when the Kami is standing at this spacing. You have to try to walk up and challenge, or you have to try to challenge them, whether it be walk up, press a button, or press a button when they walk into space, right? Both one of those two.
Okay, that's very, because that's something I feel like I have a hard time with in a lot of games is like like fighting out of the corner. Like I can do it sometimes, but it's mostly just like I walk up block, and they're like trying to neutral me, so they're walking back and they give me the space back over time.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, and that's the way to think about it, right? Imagine if you could like you're playing rock paper scissors, but you can only throw rock or paper.
Right.
So you have to kind of force the situation yourself, or react to what they're doing. But either way, you're the one taking risk, right? Because anytime you press a button in the corner, it's a risk, right? Because they can whiff punish you. Same way, if you walk up, you can get stuffed, right? That's what happens here.
Yeah.
Right. You try to challenge against trade, this is good, right? The trade is good because if you look what happens, you get a ton of space back, right? This is good. They try to walk up and take it, and they walk up and press their button, right? And then you get clipped on the classic, I'm trying to back up in the corner.
Yeah.
Right. Again, here, especially in the corner, there's no reason for you to back up. Can't go anywhere anymore, right?
Right.
So you might as well continue crouch blocking here. But this situation here kind of shows that intuitively, you know how to try to get out of the corner. You have to challenge them in some capacity, right? Or jump, which had been effective, but you got perfect parried the last two times you tried, right? So, maybe you're not as keen on jumping here.
Yeah.
But, I think you had the right idea. It just happened to not work out. But as you get better in this navigating the situation, this will become better, easier to do, right? But you have the right idea here. This is the right thing, in my opinion, to do, right? So, all right. Okay. All right. Turn steal a little bit here from the Kami, but that's okay, right? You're able to press at an appropriate time. So they jab into crouching medium punch, right? So jab, right? And then the crouching medium punch. I think this is fine. Block this, right? No big deal. You could have pressed here, would have stuffed anything they did, but it's again not a big deal. Well, actually,
I guess
not.
real quick, as a general thing, because what I have done in the past is like I've just pressed a button, and like in that case, I would have done like stand light punch. It's fast button, decent range. I do think it whiffs there. So I guess, and I'm kind of thinking about this on the fly. Is the right button to press there like a medium, like a 2MP, 2MK type of thing?
Potentially. So to answer your question here, and this is something that's a little bit inherent to Street Fighter 6 overall, is that a lot of moves, since most of the moves in the game are minus, right? Like chaining aside, and like special and other specific moves, but like chaining in particular, right? That's where the primary mix is. So like normally a jab by itself is minus, right? If you chain the jabs, you can frame trap with it, right? Because the recovery is canceled, the startup is canceled, all that. It's like special property, whatever.
Yep.
But in this game, because a lot of things are minus, there's a lot more pushback overall, right? And like you said here, a jab will probably whiff, right, from this
Yeah.
situation here, right? So the question then becomes like, is pressing a medium button here correct or not, right? So in this case, it probably would have been, because the Cammy doesn't press airtight, right? So you see the counter that happens,
Yeah.
right? So you could have pressed right away in that scenario, right? Because again, the spacing allows you to do that. So if you look at this space right here, right? Oh, sorry. All right, after that jab, crouching medium kick.
Yeah.
Even if the Cammy doesn't do anything, crouching medium kick will probably hit, right? It'll be close, I think, but even if they just block here, it'd probably hit, right? If they would did a different type of space trap where the spacing doesn't allow like that to land for whatever reason, then you have to think about it. But the to answer your question though on how to like what do I actually press here? You take your turn back usually because again this jab is actually safe for Cammy, right? It's -2, so you can't really punish this. So your option here is to take your turn back aggressively with a low, like a medium button. So I think to answer your question, medium button is correct here. But the real answer though is you press a button that's appropriate for the space.
Right. Yeah. That's something I think I struggle because like whenever it's like I hear like, oh, I need to take my turn back or challenge or stuff like that. Like my default instinct again is to jab because it's very good range for a 4-frame move. But yeah, I guess in this scenario because of the spacing that I see. And
Yeah,
like if we both immediately crush medium, I win, right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly, right? Because
it's my
+2.
turn.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
So when you talk about turns in particular, it's not just like using your fastest move when you're plus or whatever, right? Or when their turn is quote unquote over.
Yeah.
It's really more of like what buttons can you press at the spacing that you're at that would make sense or not make sense, right? Just because they block it doesn't mean you didn't take a turn back successfully, right? Like if they blocked here.
Right.
Like you did a crouching medium kick without even a cancel or some other button without a cancel, and you press it and they block. That's exactly what you want, right? You want
I'm getting the space back.
Yeah, getting space back. Yeah, exactly. Because that's what's at a premium right now in this situation where you don't have any real estate to work with, right? So a lot of Chun's better tools, like her walk speed and her buttons to whiff punish, are now taken away, right? Because you can't adjust space anymore. So you have to try to get that space back in some way, shape, or form, and this is a way to do that, right? And again, when we talk about taking turns back, it's really more about what can you get away with space-wise and button-wise when you have some plus frames, right? Because like we talk about like the space trap, right? In general, what that really means is that you're kind of trapping your opponent by making them try to take their turn back at a space where the button that they want to use will whiff. Right?
Will whiff, right?
Yeah, right. So that's what you have to, and that's why you really have to pay attention to the space here, right, and see what happened. Now, of course, this is happening really fast, right? Like all of that happened in like a second here, right? And then I immediately noticed that and it was like something we could talk about. But that's what I mean, though, is that spacing is what allowed that to work or not work, right? So, right here, right?
Yeah.
So you could have pressed. This is actually okay still, though, right? Because it's still your turn here after this. The hard part is that Cammy's pushback is way further now, right? So this would have been a space trap for sure. If you had pressed crouch medium kick here, you get space trapped. So they don't even need to think. They can just press their button here, and it'll punish whatever you do from this situation.
Right.
Of course, they miss it. They walk forward. It looks. Oh no, they press stand heavy kick. So stand heavy kick for Cammy moves her forward a little bit, right?
Oh. Oh yeah.
So what they should have pressed here was probably another crouching medium punch.
Yeah.
So like if they did that instead, right? So after this space out happens,
they just push it again.
Yeah, just push it again, right? Right.
Yeah.
So now, or I guess if it was me, because it looks something like this probably. Right, something like that. Whatever.
Right.
But that's the trap there now, right? In that situation is, that would have gone too far, right? So that's what you got to be careful of. If that spacing sends her back that far, then you can't quite press the button here. Now, of course, you get away with it because the Cammy does something that allows her to get hit here. So,
right.
Oh, what's happening here? It's like, why did Cammy stop pressing buttons? Okay. Alright. So what's happening here now, right? We're basically kind of scrambling here to try to get space back. We're both trying to press buttons, right? So, okay. Raw arrow hits you. Unfortunate. Oh, do you cancel? Let's see. All right. Let's take a look at the situation though. So after this, jump over. Right. Plus frames. Right. You get counter hit here. I think you missed the confirm. Unfortunate. And the camera was just mashing DI because this is a confirm, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know actually the confirm. Oh, after 5, yeah, you can do 2 MP
Yeah,
on reaction. Yeah,
confirm, right? So
yeah. Or actually, I don't know what the counter hit stuff is, because what is it? It's normally +6, so counter would be +8.
yeah,
So,
so you can do anything. There's a lot of options. Right? Maybe you go into crouching medium punch.
Actually, yeah, that crouch medium punch. That normally that hits without counter hit. So I think I just did it late. I just dropped it.
Yeah, no big deal. You can see it here. There's 4-frame delay. No big deal. Luckily though, you press something that is special
Cancelable.
right?
Yeah.
So, get the DI here. Good. Let's see it. Okay, safe jump. Okay. Okay, so should you have level 3 there or not? Is the question. What do you think?
Probably. I'm pretty sure that
I would have killed, right?
I think it does, especially with CA. Huh?
So from right here, after the spinning bird kick is the level 3 link, right?
That's the easier one. That's the one I typically do. Yeah, just right immediate after the SBK.
Yeah. So right here, right?
Yeah.
So with this kill, probably. Well, maybe. Let's Chun-Li level 3. Does the quarter circle forward kicks?
Quarter circle back kicks.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I have the wrong person. Shoot. What is happening? It's round 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that kills, right?
Yeah.
That's not a question, right? Cool. So then the question then becomes, would that have made sense or not in that situation, right? Because you go for this combo instead, which puts them one hit away from winning the game, or 1 hit away from dying.
Right, but I'm also a 1 hit.
Yeah, you're also a guess, right? So right here, if he wakes up reversal, you're dead, right?
Yeah.
Like if he does anything, you have to guess here too, right? It's a guess for you. So, fortunately, you kind of miss. It looks like you might have missed your setup. Oh, okay, the burnout here gets you because they could probably just chip you out right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think like if we talk about what happened in this round. You get stuck in the corner again, right? You actually do a decent job of fighting out the second time, but you do get hit in a couple of situations where you probably didn't need to, right? Right. You actually had a chance though, like the turnaround here after this jump.
Yeah.
Right, after that counter hit, after this DI, you have a chance.
After DI, counter DI, yeah.
So what I think that means for you in particular is that in your ranked games right now, the big thing I think is just to make sure that you're not getting clipped low walking back, right? Because once you're in the corner, I think especially against this particular Cammy and sorry, this Cammy in particular rather, They did a good job of keeping you in the corner, right? They were using their buttons effectively to keep you locked down. They didn't quite
Yep.
anti-air you on the jumps like they parried
Mhm.
instead, but
Yeah,
they did
yeah,
keep
yeah.
you in there, right? And even at this level, like being in the corner is more likely than not you're going to lose if you spend more time in the corner, right? Like it was difficult for you to do anything
Yeah.
from there. In fact, like here, you actually almost win it because you put them in the corner, right?
Right, right.
And then they make one defensive decision here to reversal after the safe jump, and then you can kill them, right? You kill them from here.
Mm.
So it's like the turnaround was so fast, right? You had an opportunity to win it basically,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from here. And again, you can see, right, the power of the corner in this case, right? It forced this Cammy, I think, to make that defensive decision they made, which was, I don't want to be in the corner, I'm going to DP and get out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, if I were to give you any tips to kind of work through, I think the big ones are, so far anyway that we've seen, is really just in neutral, pay attention to the spacing that allows you to press buttons, right? Press the appropriate button at the space that makes sense, right? So the closer you are, the faster button you want to press because the range is, not a problem anymore, right? That's how that works. Stay on your ground, definitely. So after interaction of some kind, just make sure you down back or continue blocking. Just to wait and see, right? Like at least the first couple interactions, wait and see. Now, if you get a read on my movement or someone, your opponent's movement, and their tendency after that, then you can start making decisions on what do you think is happening there, right? But a lot of the time that we played, a lot of the games I was getting from you was basically because of that low forward clipping you back, right? And then when you're stuck in the corner pressure that I exert was probably different than what this Cameo was doing, but the result was more or less the same, right? You had to kind of play neutral in the corner, or like you have to guess, and both of those things kind of suck, right? So,
Yeah.
I do think defensive decision wise, you do a good job of defending Oki, right? So you don't delay tech all that often. You do take some defensive decisions where maybe you just delay button or you just block. And you do make decisions like jumping too, and that it can be effective as well, right? So most of the time, I think you did okay there. It's just that when you were in the corner, I think that against this Cammy and maybe against me too to some extent, is that you were struggling to reestablish your neutral game when you didn't have access to a walking back. And I think after we talked about it, I think you have a better idea of how you want to try to play that part of the game, right? Try to challenge, you have to take a little more risk, right? Now it's gonna take some time for that to really for you to get good at that, because that's
I'm
like
expecting to get counter hit all the time.
Oh yeah, dude, you're gonna lose a lot of games. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, you're gonna lose a lot of games. But the main thing that you're gonna learn from it though is that you'll get a better sense of like what spacings work, what spacings don't, what buttons are good, what buttons are not good, and what you can and can't get away with, right? So I think that aspect will, once you improve that and you're able to fight your way out of the corner there. The funny thing about it is that it makes your mid-screen neutral game better too, right? Because now you have access to an option that you don't necessarily need to walk back anymore. Like you can do the walk forward and press a button, and since you have that kind of innate game sense now, like you can just do it and it'll work. Especially with Chun, great buttons, right? So
that's something I actually do think that's kind of true about my neutral game in general. Like my whiff punishes are okay. Obviously it's Chun, so her pokes are kind of insane. But counter poking is not something I feel like I'm very, very good at. So
and it's probably one of the, besides I think it's right up there with whiff punishing in terms of how difficult it is to do, because it does require you to have some idea of what your opponent is trying to do, right?
Right.
It's just easier and more apparent in the corner because your opponent is more incentivized to go for things that can be counterpoked, right? And you have to go for it because you're going to lose otherwise, right? So you get a sense of that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard. I'm not to say that this is easy to do, but you like as soon as that part of your like. So what happens, right? So if we talk about what happens in the neutral game after you start getting better at counterpoking, your opponent is now kind of hesitant to press, right? So you saw what happened in our game. If I manage to counterpoke you with like a counter hit or stuff something you're doing, now all of a sudden you're incentivized to walk backwards when I walk forward, right? Like it's like, oh, I don't want to be in that space when we get hit, or I don't want to press a button. So what happens then is that now like the low forward crouching medium kick like driver's cancels become easier. Opens up, exactly. Opens up, right? Because now it's like, oh, they're not pressing in that scenario anymore, so now they back up, and now I can tag them, right? Since typically forward walk speeds are faster than back walk speeds, right? As we both walk forward, I can try to tag you walking back now, right? So,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's very helpful. Thank you for.
Any other questions you have?
No, I think I'm good. I'm glad that my defensive off just didn't seem too crazy. That's something I've been really focusing on over the past month or two.
On defense, you've been great. I think it was obviously I open you up because let me tell you this though. The way that I play my game, right, is that I'm trying to get you to guess as many times as possible. I'm trying to force you into making a ton of decisions, right? And I hope that when you play me, that's how it feels. It's like every time
Yeah.
you get I got to make a decision of some kind. He's drive rushing in or something like that. And
Yeah.
the way that I end up opening you up is because you get fatigued, right? So it's like I've made 17 decisions in the last 30 seconds, right? So now it's like,
Right.
oh, I'm just gonna default to something because it's I'm struggling here, right? So
Yeah.
then
So
that's
you
when you
get
get
the
opened up.
default delay tech and
Yeah, yeah, right. And then it's like all of a sudden you're autopiloting defense, and all of a sudden you're dead, right? That's what happens.
right.
So cool, man. Do you have time to run it back? Do you want to run another set?
I think I have something. Give me
Okay.
one.
No
Can you
worries.
give me
Yeah,
1 minute?
yeah, no worries. It's not a requirement.
All right. Yeah, I got some time.
That's time. All right, cool. And not a requirement, but if you want us to run it back, you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I think we'll see how much my brain can.
Yeah. I
Hold
would
on
say
to.
that it's difficult to like we're talking about neutral game stuff here, right? This isn't like like oh just do this combo or something like that. This is something you'll have to spend some time on.
Mhm.
So if I were to give you something to work on actionable right now, I think that one is try not to back up after interactions, and two, be willing to use your meter and super, right? So if you see a situation where you can go for super, and it may you're not sure it'll kill or not, but you think you can go for it, just go for it, right? Like there's no reason not to spend it, especially if you think it'll kill. No reason not to, even if it's round one, round two, doesn't matter, right? Just be willing to use that meter. So
Yeah.
leave the mics hot because it's funnier that way. And good luck. All
Good luck.
right. Excuse me. All right. Nice. Nice. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, what? Oh, man.
Oh no, that was a misinput.
Oh, what? Buff Ken DP, guys. Come on. Oh, that was sick.
That was the setup I was trying to go for against the Cammy.
Oh, what a DP. That was like the last possible frame.
Ah.
The delay button being delay tech, that's always interesting. But that's what I mean though, right? When you look at my offense there, I wasn't doing anything like high-low crazy mix, right? It's like you have to guess. You had like 5 guesses in that 2 seconds, right? Or whatever, so. Oh. It drops. Oh, nice adjustment to that. Oh.
About the burnout, but
Yeah, I'm not throwing a fireball.
Nice.
Are you kidding me? It's gonna get eaten alive.
I'm not playing ranked shit.
That's scary, man. Nice. Oh, nice air throw. Oh, nice. That's unfortunate.
I was going cross up.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh, I feel like that cross up has been getting clipped. Aw.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, I missed it. Oh, I missed the anti-air. Nice.
Ah. I tried.
That's so hard though. Honestly, like it's so hard. Unless you're on modern, like I don't know how people would react to that. Like, it takes a
I've
better,
gotten it. I've gotten it a couple times, but I'm like pre-buffering, like.
Yeah, like the whole time, right? Yeah. Nice jump.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh no.
I saw the blue and I just reacted. Like I was mashing it. Nice. Oh, I didn't parry? Nice.
I think I could have killed.
And maybe with level 1, maybe. Uh-oh. Oh, that stand heavy punch hit you in like the very last possible frame.
I know.
This isn't even there. It was crazy. Nice. Nice.
Ooh. I started walking back.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough to break a habit, right?
Ah, nice. Ah.
That's tough. But you know, that was like I think maybe the only shimmy that I was able to be successful on our set. But
I think so. Is that one or there might have been like one earlier?
wait,
Yeah.
one other one earlier, right? But you can see like you did a pretty good job of staying pretty solid defensively, right? Not really open you up all that much. I have to do a lot of like I have to force you to make a ton of decisions, right? And then from there is how I get it. But in the neutral game, I thought you were doing a little better, right? You were.
I think so too. Like,
contesting.
yeah, I wasn't getting clipped low as much. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Hitting you
rhythm,
out, stuffing you out of stuff a little more.
Yeah. Your rhythm was better overall, at least in terms of how we were playing this particular game, the texture of this game. And you did a better job of like the walk up challenge, right? So you walked up, press a button, right? I think you're having a better idea of the spacing that you want to be standing at, and then you take advantage of Chun's excellent walk speed to put you there, right? So use that tool to apply pressure, because like you saw how I had to react by backing up or trying to induce whiffs, right? I couldn't really like counter poke you as effectively in some of those situations. So once
That's where
happened,
the lows started hitting a little bit
100%.
more too.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, and again, like this adjustment that we're making in game, that's going to continue happening over and over throughout the whole set, right? So like, I'm counter poking now, I'm not. You're counter poking now, you're not, right? Like that is continuously happening. So you just have to be aware of the situations that are occurring to allow yourself to be okay with going back to a situation or a answer that was not previously working, right? So it's like, oh, my counter pokes weren't working before, you know, so I changed it to something else, and now the correct response should be go back to counter poking, which is kind of counterintuitive because it wasn't working earlier. So why would it go back to
Right.
it? But it will work now potentially, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be okay with that. But yeah, excellent job. I think you did a lot better in neutral overall. Like I had to work way harder to try to get into the open you up, so that's a good thing for sure. Cool, man. So I know you're playing tonight, so I won't hold you up too much. Do you have any other questions before we wrap up?
I guess just as like a fun thing, what is one tip you have for playing versus Bison? Because I hate that
All right,
character.
so sorry, IO, if you're watching, I'm really sorry this is the case here. But I would say against Bison, the big thing is being able to stop scissor kicks. A lot of like
Mm,
layer one is stop scissor kicks, right? So
right, right.
the way you would probably do that with Chun, and I mean with Ken it's a little different, I guess, because he has access to stand line kick, which is absurd 5 frame. But with Chun, I think the way you want to do that is either by walking closer. So the idea would be for him to miss-space the scissor kicks, right? So if you miss-space the scissor kicks, you can get him with a 5 frame punish, right? So that's what I would try to do. That would be one. And the second thing is like one of the main interactions that Bison gets is after bomb plant. So bomb plant happens, right? A lot of times they'll drive rush in with like back heavy kick or whatever, that plus button.
Yep,
Then
4HK, yeah,
and then
yeah.
they'll press another back heavy kick, right?
Yeah,
So your job in that plus situation is to identify if they're continuously going for the crouching heavy, like the back heavy kick, or if they go for a
yeah.
different button, right? Because there's a large gap. If they go for the back heavy kick a second time, you can challenge.
Right,
Right.
right.
So, at least not
It's
out of
not really
drive
good.
rush, but like when you block it, right? So not after drive rush. After drive rush, you can't do anything. You have to hold that.
Right.
But if they
Yeah.
go for that second one after, or they hit you with it on wake up, then you kind of have to guess, right? Like even though you're minus and you're incentivized to block, we talked about the situation earlier, right? Where even though you're incentivized to block, it could mean that the Bison is being greedy on that, right? So if they are being
Right,
greedy, there
right.
you can take your turn back with like a lighter, four framer. But it is risky, right? You have to guess in that scenario. So that would be my 2 tips there, and then obviously anti-airing Devil's Reverse, right? Making sure that you are on the correct side of that. It's difficult, I think,
Yeah.
with Chun because her DP is a little bit awkward in that
Yeah.
scenario. So just be ready with that. And yeah, otherwise I'd just say good luck, man, because that's going to be
Cool.
a hell of a match. I'm looking forward to watching that. So
All right. Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Yeah, if nothing else, man, we'll just wrap up on stream, but I'll let you go.
All right. Have
All
a
right,
good one.
have a good one.
See you.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. This was Sit Down and Shut Up. Team is they're pretty good Chun, man. I think they'll do well. If they can clean up some of the neutral game stuff, I think they'll be doing pretty well. So this has been Sit Down and Shut Up. I run this through the Fight Rise Discord. So Fight Rise is a fighting game community focused on fighting games, obviously. Street Fighter 6 in particular. They run bi-weekly events through their One Fight Stand series. They're on a little bit of a break right now for the summertime, but they'll be back in a month or two. I forget exactly how long, but they'll be back for that. It's if you're in the master rank or higher than master rank, you get put into a 7-round Swiss, right? I think next season they're making some changes to that, but it'll still be a 7-round Swiss overall. So you get 7 rounds, right? Get to play some tournament level sets. If you are below master, they'll put you into a round robin pool if there's enough players, right? So you get to play a 8-person, hopefully, round robin. We do need more lower level players to come in, so if this is something that's interesting to you, please feel free to join the Discord, get some games in. You should sign up for these events, right? They're a lot of fun. It's a very casual environment, right? I like to liken it to a beer league, beer league softball or something like that. It's a casual environment, very competitive, but in terms of the player's skill level and all that, but everyone's super friendly and super nice, right? We're all on VC having a good time. They also do community showcase events through their Urge to Fight series. You can check any of those out at twitch.tv/FightRiseFGC, right? I think they were in chat earlier, so you can scroll up and click on their profile. They do community events, right? So you can take a look at any of those. They also do charity events, and you can see what they did in December was they raised a bunch of money for the Raiden Foundation, which is pretty cool. The finals for what I'm about to talk about is happening tonight. So Big League KO is the other major kind of event that they run. So Big League KO is basically a league format. Basically, you're put into a 8-person pool, and you play a round robin over the course of 5 weeks. You get 2 first to 5s every week. So flexible scheduling, it's longer sets, right? So it's a lot of fun. It's a good time. You get put in a pool with folks of a similar kind of skill level, if you will. So it's a lot of great matches. A good way to get a lot of matches with good players at running longer sets. So that's a really fun. And at the end of that, there's a postseason where after the bracket, our top the heavy hitters, if we're calling them. The top players get to move on to a kind of playoff bracket, and the finals for that is tonight. So if that's something you want to see, you want to see Team play against Papa Fight Rise himself, Image Omega, they are playing tonight on ETF. So take a look at Fight Rise FGC on their Twitch channel to tune in for that. I'm also, if you liked what I'm doing here and it's something that's interesting to you, please join the Fire Rise Discord. Take a look at the Sit Down and Shut Up channel. There'll be a instructions on how to join for a session, to get a session like this for yourself. Again, it's all there if you wanted to join that. I'm also part of the Newbie Fight Club. So Newbie Fight Club is another fighting community focused on newer players getting into the game, getting into fighting games rather. It's mostly Street Fighter 6, that's the most popular, but they do play some other games too. I think Tekken has been played, maybe less so these days. City of the Wolves, if you're looking for people to play, there's people that play that too, even though it's kind of fallen off. But yeah, they run lobby nights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if you wanted to get some games with folks that are newer, if you're new yourself, you want to get games, those are great opportunities to get more games. You go around VC, chatting, have a good time for lobby nights. They also run bi-weekly tournaments, or at least they do. I think they're on a little bit of a break right now as well. But they run bi-weekly tournaments on Fridays, right? And usually it's a Swiss tournament. Sometimes they do double elimination, depending on what's happening on Fridays. Every other Friday, I think is what it is. And then once a month on Mondays, there is a modern tournament. So if you're a modern player and you want to play in a tournament with other modern players, you can take a look at that as well. So it's all in the Discords, right? So if you want, I'm very active on these Discords. So if you wanted to talk to me, to ask me any questions or join in these Discords, please feel free to do it. The communities are always so welcoming, and we like to see new faces. Lastly, I mentioned is if you want to see past sessions that I've done, take a look at my YouTube channel. You can see past sessions I've done, as well as smaller vignettes of things smaller chunks of training sessions if you're looking for some advice or some help with your game. Other than that, this has been a Sit Down and Shut Up. Appreciate you guys for watching, and have a good afternoon or evening or whatever it happens to be for you.